and welcome to the very first Young Trustees Movement webinar. It's so exciting to be with you all here today. My name is Mita and I manage the Young Trustees Movement, and I'll be co-hosting this webinar with the wonderful Meg. Meg, would you like to say hi?
Yeah, hi, so I'm Meg, I'm the project coordinator at the Young Trustee Movement, and it's just really lovely to be here today.
Yeah, really lovely, and again, super exciting. And I'd love for you to just put in the chat one word right now which describes how you're feeling right now in this moment.
Okay, so you've got some comments through. Lots of people are excited. You've got somebody saying they're inspired. They're really looking forward to see what happens. And one person says it's their third Zoom meeting of the day. So that's impressive. It's only 11 a.m. But yeah, lots of excited people, I think.
Very impressive for your third Zoom meeting. So thank you for making it here today to be in your fourth Zoom meeting. Gosh, I love all of those things coming through. For me, I'm feeling really grateful right now. We're all connected in this moment with the belief that it is not okay that 1 in 12 trustees are named either John and David, and yet less than 3% of trustees are under 30. And that is the thing that has brought us all here today. And really connecting us, because we know that when boards are able to reflect their community and have the conditions that allow for meaningful diversity of perspectives, boards can better future-proof themselves, navigate uncertainty, and make decisions that benefit the whole community. So we thank you for being here right now, or whether you're watching this recording later, because the difference you are making during these challenging times is so needed now more than ever. So thank you so much for making the time to be here today, be part of the movement as well. So just a bit of a recap in terms of what has happened. So since October, people in the movement have been doing some very exciting things. And I'm just going to share my screen again, just so you can see some of those things. Okay, great. Meg, can you see the screen right now?
Yeah, we can see it.
Perfect. So yeah, as I mentioned, since October, there's been people in the movement have been doing some very exciting things. Lots of brilliant organizations have been creating spaces and opportunities. And just to name a few, for instance, Millennium has ran a series of conferences across the country for young people, and has included young trustees within those conferences and giving them a platform. Similarly, Sophie Livingstone used her platform in her keynote speech to talk about what it means to meaningfully be an ally and why we need more young trustees. Curious Minds in Preston, a brilliant person called Kelly, ran a training program for young trustees, aspiring young trustees, sorry, and now she just updated me this morning that really excitingly 4 out of the 6 people who attended the training are now active board members. Also, King's College University has been doing some really exciting work with getting on board to get their students on board. Oxford Hubs has been running some training programs again, and Beyond Suffrage, a brilliant program for women of colour, has launched. I think in 2019, and we've seen some fantastic work and progress come out of there. So really exciting things happening. And on social media, people have been putting young trusteeship on the agenda through sharing their stories and sparking conversations, from why they wanted to be trustees, how they became trustees, and why and what they have given from being a trustee, which has really sparked an incredible conversation and has led to a lot of news coverage as well. And And over 650 people have pledged to join the movement through taking action to meaningfully double the number of young trustees by 2024. And what's been so exciting is that these people have stretched from CEOs, young trustees, aspiring young trustees to recruiters. So we've had a real breadth of people on board, and this is just the beginning. At the forefront of our movement have been our wonderful ambassadors, who are young trustees themselves, who've been collecting the voices of the communities across England and Wales. And the reason why I say England and Wales is because the governance, we're working in England and Wales at the minute because that has a specific set of governance rules which will be different from Northern Ireland and Scotland. We've still created, there's been a lot of interest from Northern Ireland and Scotland as well, so we've still created on our digital hub spaces for people to share opportunities and have those conversations. But it's really important to note that when we are talking about specific advice or policies, they will be slightly different. So just wanted to raise awareness of that. And they have been leading and designing the movement with our brilliant champions, who are also young trustees. And I can't just stress again how just brilliant the young people and young trustees who have been working on this movement have been, and how their ideas, insights, thoughts have really created a digital hub which really I think makes a huge impact, which I'll go on. So you've already been doing so much, and as I mentioned before, your collective ideas and insights have been calling for 3 things to enable us to take the movement to the next level, and they are to connect, co-create and change. So the digital hub acts as a platform to achieve these things, and the aim of this webinar is so that by the end of it you can know how you can use it to get what you need to fulfill your young trustees goal, and share and share your ideas, resources and kind of insights and things that you're doing to support others as well. And we are going to cover a lot of ground, but I just want you to know that we will be running office hours after this every Tuesday. So if you don't quite capture everything, or we don't get to everybody's questions, don't worry, because there will be an opportunity next Tuesday when you can come and chat to us from there. And have I stopped sharing my screen now, Meg? Is that correct?
Yeah. You are not sharing your screen anymore.
Perfect. So in order to do this, we're going to be asking Meg some of the frequently asked questions that people have asked us about the Digital Hub, and then you'll have an opportunity to ask us all your questions. And remember, there's no such thing as a stupid question. And again, if we don't have an opportunity to answer all of your questions today, there will be an opportunity where you can come back to us next week on Tuesday, so we can answer all of them as well there. So Meg, over to you. The first question that we often have is, what sorts of things will you be talking about in the hub?
Yeah, it's a really good question. So I should have just started sharing my screen as well. And what I've put up there is a list of themes that we'll be talking about in the coming months. So we went out and we asked our ambassadors and our champions and the wider movement what sort of things that you want to learn about, talk about, discuss. And you came back to us with lots of suggestions. So we've put those into monthly themes. So what we're focusing on this month in May is, what do trustees do? And in June, we will be focusing on applying and choosing your young trustee role. And in July, recruiting young trustees. And then within each month, we'll be focusing on a sub-theme or a subtopic to really dig a bit deeper. So in May, the topics that we're covering should be on your screen now. So they are, what do trustees do? Double dive into that. And then next week, we'll be looking at why do boards need young trustees. In the 17th to the 23rd of May, what do you get from being a trustee? And then the final week of May, how have trustees been managing the COVID crisis in the boardroom? And I would really stress that if there is a topic that you think is really important and you think we should be covering, other people can learn from it, then let us know. It's a movement made by you guys. And so if you want to share your ideas with us, we're more than happy to grow the themes, to grow the topics with you. And if you can't remember all of the topics that I've just said, don't worry, because every Monday I will be posting the theme of the week and what's to come in that week, so you can get involved with that.
Great, thanks so much, Meg. And I think what's really exciting as well is this week is all around the theme of what do trustees do, and we'll be holding a webinar with the brilliant Leon Ward, who's an ambassador for Wales, who'll be sharing his experiences and answering some of your questions that you came up with this Monday. So that's just a plug over there. And we will be sending you much more reminders to attend this Thursday, because we do think it's going to be brilliant. So next question, Meg, we get a lot is, how do I manage notifications so I can only hear about the things that are relevant to me?
Yeah, so this is a really good question. One of the things that you told us was that you want to stay up to date, you want to hear what's going on, but you don't want to be inundated with notifications. I know I am always getting notified on my phone and it can be too much. So what we're going to do is personalize the settings on your membership to the Digital Hub, so you only get notified about the things that you're interested in, the things that are relevant to you wherever you are on your Young Trustees journey. And you can actually do that now with me. So I'm going to share my screen, and you'll be able to follow along and edit your settings now, or rewatch and do it later, whatever works best for you. So I will share my screen now. So you should now be able to see the hub on your screens. Mita, can you see that?
We can, yeah.
Okay, fabulous. Okay, so the first thing that you'll need to do is click in the top right hand corner of the little picture of you, and then you'll go to your settings and to notifications. So this is where you'll be able to decide what you want to be notified about and to make sure the Digital Hub is working for you. So first of all, how do you want to be notified? Is it by emails or not? So you should just be able to click and switch them on or off. And if you do want to be emailed, then how often? Do you want to be emailed each time something of interest to you happens? Or do you just want to hear about it once a day, a roundup of everything? So you can choose that as well. And then do you want to be notified every time something happens on the hub? So for example, when somebody likes a post or cheers your post, do you want to know about it? If so, keep it on green. If not, click on it and it'll come off, so you're not being notified. And you can do that for lots of different things, for times that you're mentioned, for event reminders. It's really up to you what you want to be notified about. So I'd really recommend that you adapt that for yourself. And I just want to highlight, so I like to hear about everything, but I don't want to know every time a member posts. So this one is off for me. And that's just because we hope the community really takes off, that people get involved and start having their own conversations. And I imagine it'll be a lot to hear about if that one is still on. So once you've updated your notifications, you can also notify yourself from certain themes that you're interested. So I've just clicked back to the home screen, and then I'll click on the topics button here. So once you go into topics, and I'll chat about what those topics mean in a second, but essentially once you've clicked on the topics on the left-hand side, you can then follow or unfollow a specific topic. A bit like in Facebook, where there's a post that's interesting to you, you can follow it, and then you'll be notified for all the comments. So it's kind of like that. So you can click, so if it says the word follow, you're not currently following, click on it, it will then say following, and you'll be notified about kind of action that's happening in those groups. And you can do that for each of these themes or these topic areas that are of interest to you. So that's how you do your notifications.
Thanks, Meg. And we've had some really nice comments, really like the website layout and the messaging options. We want to know a little bit more about the topics. So can you explain to us what are the different topics and how they work?
Yeah, of course. So you should be able to now see the topics. There you go. So the topics, again, they're framed around things that we did research, ambassadors did research, champions did research, and they're topics that you thought you'd get the most use out of on the Digital Hub. So the first one that we have is give and ask. So that's about asking questions. Like Nita said, there are no stupid questions, and if you are thinking something, someone else is as well. So you can put it in the give and ask section. And equally, you're all experts in different things. So we're really hoping that the give and ask section can be somewhere where you share your knowledge and your expertise with other people as well. And equally, it's where on a Monday, I will be posting the weekly theme. So this week, what do trustees do? And I'm encouraging people to ask questions in the comments section that they want to know the answer to. And I will take those, research them throughout the week, and then post the answers on a Friday. So if you have burning questions that are relevant to that week's theme, give and ask is where you can put them. Then we have who we are. So that's helpful, where you can share a bit more about yourself and why you're here. I'll be posting daily short questions and polls and fun things in there so we can get to know each other and build relationships and connections within the movement. We have anonymous stories. So you told us that actually there might be some things that you think are really valuable that other people can learn from, but that aren't, that you don't want your name associated next to. So if there's a story and you think, actually, people could learn a lot from this, but I don't really want my name put next to it, it's not a problem. You can email us the story and the information, and I will put it up anonymously for you. And I'll make sure that my email address is clear to anyone that wants to do that. And you can also get in touch with me through the hub as well. Designing the movement. So that's about making sure the movement works for you. So we'll continually come back, make sure the topics, make sure the themes, they're all right for you. And if you have any feedback, comments or suggestions, you can put that in designing the hub. We have case studies and wins. So that's where you can learn about members' stories. So on a Wednesday, I will be posting a spotlight story on one of our members. And that could be someone who's an aspiring trustee, a CEO, or anyone in the movement. And you can learn about their experiences as in their young trustee journey. And it's also somewhere we can celebrate wins with each other and things that have gone well. We have resources. So resources is kind of does what it says. If you find anything that you think is useful, pop it in the resources section so that you can share that with everybody else who might want to find it out as well. So I'll be looking and posting resources, but that would be great if you could help us out and put things you read there too. And then lastly, it's disappeared, reflect and learn. So if you have any reflections you want to share, any things that are specifically about learning or training, you can post them in the reflect and learn section. I will also say that in the resources section, I'm very sorry, I forgot to say, on a Friday, that's where I'll be posting the answers to the give and ask questions. So on a Monday, you ask questions. On a Friday, I'll post it in the resources section. And you will also be able to filter. If you click into that topic, you can filter it by who posted. So if you just want to see the answers to the Monday questions, you can filter by by the host, and you'll just see the post from me, and be able to find those responses to your questions. Yeah, go on.
Great, thanks for that, Meg. And there's a lot of information in there as well. So if you're ever confused, like this will become a lot more intuitive as we as you get used to it, and you'll be really like kind of in the flow. But we're explaining this at the beginning so you can just get to grips where everything is. So where can people share opportunities or seed opportunities that's relevant to them, Meg?
Yeah, of course. So one of the last themes that you'll be able to see is the opportunities section. And I'll just share it again for you. So if you go into the movement and scroll down, you will be able to see opportunities. And those opportunities are where we can post vacancies, but not just vacancies. Maybe there are events people can go to, anything that's a relevant opportunity for the members of the movement. And they are split by location, but there's also an option, I think, at the bottom here for national opportunities. So trustee boards often cover anyone in the UK or wider than one specific region. So those opportunities would go in the national topic.
Great, thank you. And can you access this on your phone?
Yes, so there is a young trustee movement app. It's with the digital hub. So I will write down the digital hub in the comments section. Sorry, that's wrong. It's with the Mighty Networks. So you'll need to go to your app store and search Mighty Networks. And I can write that to everybody now because I didn't spell it right when I was first looking for it. Mighty Networks. So you'll search for the Mighty Networks app, and then once you've downloaded that, you can search for the Young Trustees movement, and you'll need to put your email and password in again, and then you'll have the app. And I'd really recommend it because it's really user friendly and it's just easy to get all the information you need there.
Great, thank you. And as we're going through these questions, please do try them out yourselves while you're listening to this so that you can ask us any other, if any hiccups are happening or if anything needs to be clarified. So what are the different roles that people have in the movement? How is this shown in the digital hub? And how can people know what your individual role is?
Yeah, good question. So we are, as a movement, are people from all different backgrounds, and we all have different roles within the hub. It's really diverse. So one of the ways that we're able to show other people who we are and how we're supporting the movement is by creating your profile. So again, I will share my screen. But this time I'll come into the hub. So again, you should be able to follow this along if you want to and you're logged into the hub. So I'm going to click on the home page to take me back, which is this little picture in the corner. And again, I'm going to come to my profile picture. And this time I'm going to go on to view profile. So this should take you to your own page. It'll have your name. You can change the banner. I have some yellow bunting, kind of like LinkedIn or Facebook. There's a cover, picture and a picture, which you can change if you'd like to. And then you can edit this. So you're going to click on the blue button in the right-hand corner. Make sure your name, your first name and your last name are correct, whatever you want to share. You can write an about you, which is really short. I've just put project coordinator, but if you're a trustee or whatever your role is, you could put it in there. And then we have the general roles that we've got on the website, that we've got on the movement rather. So the ambassadors, as Mitha talked about, we've got 10 ambassadors who do an amazing job and help really lead and shape the movement. And we have champions who are again a specified role. So if you are a young trustee and you're interested in becoming a champion, then you can let us know about that. But for everybody else, you will be one of the other three options. So they are aspiring young trustee, so somebody that wants to be a trustee that's going to be doing applications and might want support doing that. A young trustee, so maybe somebody who wants to share their experiences and get support in their trustee role that they're currently in. And then the last category that we have, which is my role as well, is an ally. So what we mean by ally is anybody who wants to support the movement of diversifying the boardroom. So that'll be people on the movement and on the network who are over 30 but want to help in some way. So that might be a trustee who is over 30, it might be a CEO, it might be a mix of young people, and it's somebody that wants to support young people and the movement in general. So I am an ally. And then you can add in anything else that you want to, whether that's your LinkedIn. And then lastly, if you want to as well, you can write a bit of an introduction. So that's just sharing what you're interested in, what your passions are. And if you want to connect with somebody, then you can see, oh, they're interested in gender equality and intersectionality or whatever that might be. And then you need to save it. So again, in the top right-hand corner, saved. And then your role is complete. And then if you're looking at anyone else's, you'll know a bit more about them, which I think is really nice.
Great, thank you, Meg. And I think you can also on that page follow the different articles, like follow the different pages that you're interested in. So if you're particularly interested in Give and Ask and want to hear notifications about that, that's where you can do that. So another thing people wanted to know is there groups and spaces for each type of people on the hub, and how does that work?
Yeah, so at the minute it's something that we're working on, but what we're trying to do once you've got your role, it'll help us is bring people together who are interested in similar things or who are going through a similar part in their journey. So we'll create groups for you, and then you'll be able to meet and share things specifically with people who are at the same part in their journey as you. And it's something that we'll be developing and can share with you as we go.
Thanks, Meg. And again, you can request some of these things if you want a particular group or if you have a particular program and you just want a forum to connect with people, you can request that on designing the movement topic. We've also got secret groups. So those are groups that nobody else can see. So currently within the Digital Hub, champions and particular areas have those groups, but everyone else won't be able to see them because they're secret at the minute. So if there is a particular group or if you're running a particular project for Young Trusteeship that you want, you can request that. So Meg, last question before we move on to questions from the brilliant people that have joined here today. Is there anything else that we can expect from the Digital Hub, or is this it for now?
Yeah, so like you said, in kind of evolution, and we're constantly responding to your feedback, and I really want to emphasize that you can message me or put it in the designing the hub topic that I've mentioned about with those suggestions. And one of the things that was suggested to us recently was to create kind of support groups of people who are interested in certain things or who might be experiencing problems and want to share that with a group so that you can come up with solutions together. So the amazing Svetlana, who I think might be in this call, is helping us with that. And she'll be working to kind of create a peer support group with a certain group of members, and they'll be sharing their ideas and working through real life problems together. And she'll be putting a kind of curriculum together and a how-to guide so that other champions can take on that project and run it with other people as well. So that's one example kind of how the movement's taking on a bit of a life of its own, as well as adapting to ideas and suggestions that we've had.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. So we'll move on now to questions. You can either state your question in the chat and ask us to ask it on your behalf, or you can put in the chat, I'd like to ask this question myself, and then we can unmute you. I'm going to kick off with Carla, I think, who has a question. So I'm just going to unmute you, Carla. Carla, would you like to go with your question?
Hi, thank you very much. And firstly, thank you so much for your work in putting together the hub and running the information session today. It's really been very helpful to have you walk us through it. So thanks again for organising it. I had one quick question. Hopefully it's relevant for everybody. I'm working for an organisation called The Four, which provides funding and skilled volunteers for small charities and social enterprises. We have found that with particularly the coronavirus crisis, that a lot of charities are looking for skilled volunteers at the moment, and we have put together a directory to help connect people that have skills, everything from finance and legal, business planning, that sort of thing, together with small charities that really need their help right now. I thought that it might be of interest to the young trustees and potential young trustees that might want to be getting more experience with charities, or building relationships with charities that may need trustees or might need trustees in the future. What would be the best way to signpost this, or to flag it or share information about this through the hub in a way which might be helpful for people that want to get involved?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you for that, Carla, and what an exciting platform that you've created. So I think the best way to share that is when you go onto topics and you see the list of areas. So, for instance, England, Wales, Southwest Wales, and put in signpost your opportunity there, outlining who it would benefit and how they can use it. And what experience is required for them, and being really clear with that. The thing that we ask from people posting opportunities is, one, that it's free for young people. If it's not free, looking at discounted tickets, for instance, for young people. I know your opportunity isn't costing, but also just to transfer to people who are, because, for instance, a young person wouldn't be able to afford like £100 conference ticket. They would need to be subsidized to be able to be in that space. And thirdly, we'd ask for it to be as relevant to people in that space as possible. So, for instance, if your platform had everyone but then didn't have anybody from the north, for instance, we'd ask you to not post in the north area. So just posting everywhere where it's relevant. Does that answer your question, Carla?
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Carla. I'm going to go through a couple of questions from the chat, and then if anybody would like to ask a question directly, please do say. And Meg, do let me know if I've missed anything out here. So, number one, anonymous stories is such a good idea. I agree. I would like to learn more about how to share your skills and expertise to impress board applications if you have no previous board experience. Yes, so we will be doing a whole session of this next month. This will be actually the focus of our session next month, because you do not need board experience to be a good board member. And so lots of people will be looking for, lots of people are actually looking for young trustees at the minute to fill those places. And as this digital hub develops, hopefully we'll be seeing this being a bit more populated. One. Number two, please do write down for now all the questions and the ways that you'd like support in this area, because next month that is going to be our entire focus through our monthly themes and our daily activities. So Lewis, this one is to come for you. Okay, next question is can you link the profile to LinkedIn so we don't have to update multiple platforms? That's a good question. Thank you to everybody who has filled in a pledge and then also signed into the Digital Hub. We appreciate it's you logging in your details multiple times. The reason why we have to do this, which is actually something I forgot to mention in the beginning, so thank you so much for answering this, bringing this up, is because for the platform at the minute we are
getting people who are we need to know your age. So we need to know that you're 18 plus to be on the platform. We know that is not ideal and does present a barrier for people who are below 18, and we desperately need people in that age bracket on boards as well. Our number one priority is safeguarding, so that is the reason for that, but we're looking for ways to kind of develop and test this. Currently, for safeguarding, we have a system where people can report and flag comments, so that we know that our members on our site is safe. We're testing this out for now as phase 1, before we can invite under 18s to this platform, because there is a direct messaging function. The other thing that we're doing is we're doing tailored weekly updates for people who are under 18 via mail, so they're not missing out also. So unfortunately for now you have to sign in, but I do promise you it will be worth it. And is there a category for recruiting charities? I'm going to interpret this question as also, I'm dyslexic as well, so if I've read your question wrong, please do like you've read my question wrong. I did once turn up to a party as a London Underground themed party as Angle instead of Angel, so that might happen. So is there a category for recruiting charities? I'm going to read that as sorry, I meant for charities that are recruiting trustees. Okay, great. So thank you. So yes, so if you are recruiting trustees, you can put that in the opportunities section for 1. Number 2, the 3rd month that we'll be working on, which is May, June, July, will be all focused around recruitment for trustees. We will, if it is requested, we can have a focus group for people who are just recruiting, so they can share their conversations and chats. So please do keep sharing how is it you want support in this area. The resources are also going to be filtered through hashtags. So if you're looking for support to be recruiting trustees, look at that hashtag in terms of recruitment. But our 3rd month is solely focused on how you can recruit young trustees. And we'll be developing in that area as well. Okay. Does anybody also want to speak a question? I feel like I've heard my voice for a long time. So if you feel like I want to speak now, please do speak. Or Meg, do you want to take the next question? Read it out.
I can do. So we have some specific questions on trusteeship. So what is the legal age for young trustees? Is it 18 years old? So maybe you could flag just where people can look to find that sorts of information out.
Yeah, this is a good question, and actually yeah, there is I think it's we actually need to do some research around this as well to give proper answers, so this is a great question. So it's generally, I think, 18 plus. You can have I think a type of actually I'm going to wait till we have all the research to comment on this properly, because I appreciate people will be using this information. Oh, Leon has commented in the chat saying you must be at least 16-year-old to be a trustee. Actually, I'm going to let Leon take this over, because Leon, where are you? I'm going to unmute you. Come into the chat. Unmute.
Well, thanks. Hi, for what I was good morning. Good morning to you all. I saw the question just as I came into the chat and just did the quick Google to test whether I was right with what I knew, and it turns out I was wrong. So, because I thought you had to be 18, but the Charity Commission says you have to be at least 16-year-olds to be a trustee of a charity that is a company or an incorporated organisation. Otherwise, you have to be 18 of any other type of charity. And I'll post the link now so that you can check out the page for yourselves.
Great, thanks, Leon.
I would also make 2 shameless plugs there. One is that we've got a member spotlight story, in the first week of it is on Leon and his experience as a young trustee, and there's also a webinar on Thursday evening. I think it starts at 5:30, and that's a bit more of a Q&A where Leon can share answers to questions like that. And thirdly, if you have more questions specifically on trusteeship, I'd I would definitely recommend that you put them in the Give and Ask section on the Digital Hub, because that's where I'll take them away and put them together, so that everyone can read about them, not just everyone here.
Great, thank you. And we've got another question from Amelia. Thank you, Amelia. Meg mentioned we can get involved with the champion role. Could you explain a little bit more about this and what this involves? Yes, so ambassadors will be managing campaigns and activities within their areas with their champions, and champions are people who are young trustees themselves, who want to campaign about this issue, raise awareness, use their story to highlight what is happening in this area, and then also just design things that they want to. And what this design looks like is so different from area to area of what people have come up with. Some people are piloting in their schools, like a program that they can run. Some people want to do, this was before coronavirus kicked off, wanted to do a women, what it means to connect with the women's network in their local area, and now they're thinking about how they can do that online as well. Other people have been thinking about how they can connect with their local societies, and what that means for them. So a champion is basically somebody who is a young trustee and wants to campaign and support it. The ideas and the ways that they do that is so broad. I should also mention as well, Savlana, who we mentioned on the chat, is also piloting, supporting other aspiring young trustees at the minute as well. So to answer your question very broadly, it is what you want it to be, and the kind of campaign that you want to take. The only thing that we ask of champions is to have intersectionality and inclusivity at the forefront of everything they do, which of course they are doing.
I think Dan has a question that he's happy to ask. I'll unmute
yes,
you,
please.
Dan, if you're happy
Dan.
to go.
Hello there, Dan Millington. I'm a young trustee and a trustee champion. I'm a young trustee of Shelf Cymru, the People and Home Charity of Wales. Mita, first of all, you saviour. I'm honoured to be involved and inspired by your commitment to the movement. And Meg, fantastic to have you on board. Sort of through my own exploration of the Digital Hub, I think there are what seems to be a number of different audiences on the hub, and I think there's a little bit of further work to be done in creating safer spaces for those audiences to interact. Can we look at creating a secure and perhaps safer space for only young trustees to interact? A place where they won't perhaps be approached about opportunities from recruiters, but one where we can share rich lessons that we've learned and experiences on our journey to get where we've got. Because I think there's certain things which other young trustees would share, which would benefit a lot of other young trustees, the hardship that they've gone through to get where they've got, or perhaps other lessons and important areas that they could share as well. Thank you.
That's a great question, Dan. Thank you very much for sharing that. Ooh, I've got some background sound. I'm just going to mute you, Dan. Meg, could you mute Dan for me? Thank you. And then Dan, if you want to come back in, we'll unmute you. But yeah, that is a fantastic question, and we've got a lot of feedback from other people as well. Is that is what they want. So initially, when the Digital Hub was created, it was to have the space where we can have all these shared learnings for everyone to see, but to have a space which no one else can see. Is also important. So we will be putting into place by the end of this week a national young trustee space that is secret and won't be able to be seen unless you're within that group. So that is a great question, and that's just a point as well, is this Digital Hub will always be evolving. So where you have feedback and you're like, I want this to happen, please do give your feedback, because that's what needs to happen. It's constantly evolving. Fantastic, Dan says. Great. Any other questions coming up or any other comments?
There's a question that says, I can see there aren't many roles advertised on the hub yet. Where else is the best place to find roles?
Yeah, great question. So this is just kicking off at the minute. So we're just asking all of the recruiters from Reach, Trustees Unlimited to smaller organisations as well to post their opportunities in this space. We'll also be covering next week as well how you can approach organisations whose opportunities aren't listed and how you can approach those as well. So watch out for next month as well, where we'll go into this detail a little bit further. And also as the hub develops, it will become more populated.
There's another question here that I think is really good. What are your plans to promote / recruit young people to join the hub?
Yes, great. So we'll be holding national digital campaigns, number one, to get people involved. And what was really great is when this movement sparked is like so many people were like, I didn't know I could be a trustee. I have all the experience, and they've gone and got those roles, which is really exciting. Number two is our champions and ambassadors will be leading campaigns in their local areas. And number three is also we'll be looking to work with organisations who work with young people to see how they can promote their work and signpost their work into what we're doing. So if you do know organisations who work with young people, please do signpost them. And also a vital part of this as well is people within the movement just doing, like, using social media, using their stories online to really promote what they're doing. And that is the most powerful thing. So please do keep doing that.
There's one more question. Do you want me to read it?
Yeah, go for it.
I want to be respectful of everyone's time, so we can, I'll just ask this one. I think you might have just answered this earlier, but can I check what the plans are for peer support groups of existing young trustees in a region? How can I refer a new trustee?
Yeah, great question. Again, so the peer support group will be managed on a local area by your ambassadors and champions, where they'll come back, have those conversations. What are you finding hard? What do we need to support with? And then again as well, on top of that, if you would like to request a group for a specific area to bring together people. So for instance, if you would like a space solely focused on the experiences of people, for instance, with dyslexia on boards, you can request that space. We can put that up and then ask people to join those spaces and for you to have those conversations. Yes. So hopefully that answers that question. We'll take one more question, I think, and then we'll close, just because we put this meeting as 45 minutes, but let's go move on. So as an ally working to start getting youth governance in a large organised NGO, it would be really great to be able to have a way to ask young trustees questions about positives and negatives that we can learn from it. The closed group sounds like a good place for young people to learn honestly, and could the champions be... Okay, so I've learned from this that Megan, I should ask you to read questions because I'm not great at reading and processing at the same time. What I've got from this question, and Meg, please correct me if I'm wrong, and also Hannah, please do tell me if I've answered this question, is how can people working as allies get feedback from other people in the space to really make it meaningful? And that comes back to the co-creation. So you can use the Given Ask section to be like, I've created this recruitment pack, what do people think? And for people to comment on their live. We can also, if there's some specific questions that you want answered and we think it's a bigger question that lots of people want to cover, we can turn it into a theme or a sub-theme that we can cover within the week and get those resources collated for you. Meg, does that answer the question? Or Hannah, does that answer the question that was posed there? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much. It's been incredible to have you all here. I'm feeling really excited and motivated for what this means, to have all of you on board, for the people who are on here now, for the people who will be listening to this later. It would be really nice if we could just summarize in the chat, maybe 1 word or 2 words, or a statement for what you're going to do, or how you're feeling, to close. And I'll read them out as we're going. Maybe, Meg, we can read them out one by one so people aren't hearing my voice too much. So thanks for all the work that has gone into this, and we'd like to say thanks back to all the ambassadors, champions and allies and advisory board members and funders who put lots of effort into this. Meg, do you want to read the next comment?
Yeah, really insightful. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Great stuff. Incredibly helpful. Amazing. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate having I think somebody said this was their 3rd Zoom meeting of the day, and it was only 11 by this point. Hopefully this was a worthy 4th meeting. Thank you so much. We're closing the meeting now, but we're not closing the conversation, and we look forward to seeing you on the Digital Hub.
Bye.
Goodbye.
See you soon.
Bye.